Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people don't like structure. Matter of fact, some people looking at this video right now are probably getting turned off because they feel like this is just too much. But see, what you don't want to be, you don't want to be a freaking gambler. You don't want to do that. You know what you are? You are a fund manager over your own digital funding account. You are a professional trader. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people don't like structure. Matter of fact, some people looking at this video right now are probably getting turned off because they feel like this is just too much. But see, what you don't want to be, you don't want to be a freaking gambler. You don't want to do that. You know what you are? You are a fund manager over your own digital funding account. You are a professional trader. Good evening. My name is Derek Taylor, and welcome to the Collector Trade House. I am the CEO and founder of the Collector Trade House again. Tonight, I want to talk to you guys about binary options, the platform pocket options. I've seen a lot of people, not necessarily teach it, but I've seen some people show, movements of them getting in and out of trades. The reason why I decided to do this particular one on pocket options is because I think it is very, very important that we talk about this in a place or in a space that we could talk about support, resistance, and structure. I think structure is very important when you're talking about getting in and out of trades and pocket options. Okay, so let's get into it. And what I want to show you is how I have this chart set up. Now, if you use MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, you may use support and demand boxes. I like using them because it is a guardrail for structure. Also have support and resistance lines on those. In pocket options, just like on your phone, and this is a good way to train using structure because this is very similar to your phone in some cases, okay? Because there's no support and resistance lines, there's no supply and demand boxes on your phone. Neither is it here on this platform, okay? So the first thing I want to do is to go to the highest and the lowest points, and I want to mark because I want to mark my trading zone. Okay. So I get a horizontal line and I click on it and I move it up. And I move it up here to the tip of this fractal. So I have fractals, have and elements of structure. Let's just go through that real quick. I have fractals. I have the cloud. I have the candles themselves. I also have, and when I say the candles themselves, an element of structure is consolidation. And then I have the moving averages, the 50, the 200, the 5, and the 13. And I also have the super trend. Okay. So back to this. So I want to mark my trading zone here. I'm going to change this. I'm going to hit this little gear here, and I'm going to put this in red. I'm going to change it to 3 pixels here, and I'm going to save because I like the lines thick so we can see them. And then on this bottom, I'm going to click here, right? And I'm going to hit the horizontal line, and I'm going to move this down, right, to the last or the lowest fractal here, which is right here. And then I'm going to come here and hit the settings, come here. I'm going to click blue for support, and thicken that up and save it. So now I have a trading zone. Well, why is it important, Derek, that you have the trading zone? Well, the trading zone, there is no doubt that price is overperforming at that point. Here, if price moves out here, price is being overbought at that point. If price moves down here, price is being oversold at that point. Another thing you want to measure, so in the Collector Trade House, we teach that there is an order of operation. Just like when you're doing an algebra problem, you need to solve the brackets first, that type of thing. In order, what I need to do, I need to locate price. So here's price here. Price is inside the cloud, so I don't have a trade here. I don't have a trade here. 2, I need to identify support, resistance, and structure. In this case, I need to identify structure. I'm looking at it here. Here's the bottom of my trade zone. Here's the top. And then there's fractals in between here. Also have areas of consolidation. The EMAs can also act as structure. All right. So the other thing I want to do is I want to make sure, and this is number 3, when I want to make sure that I have to have the ability to measure volume, whether volume is moving in the upward position or is volume decreasing and giving momentum to the downward position. In order for any of those things to be true, I need to make sure down here on the ADX that price is trending. So my waterline or that line, I need to make sure that price and the ADX is operating above 20. In this case, this blue line represents the ADX. This green line represents the K signal or measuring buyers. And this line is the D signal, which is also measuring sellers. So in order for this to be trending, say like here, the positive DI, which is the K signal, is above 20. You see it here at the right at 21.42. And here is the ADX. The ADX is below 20, which is 17.64. Now, that means that price is not trending because the ADX number, which helps us measure volume, is below 20, which adds up with this because price is in the cloud. So I can't take a trade. Plus, price is consolidating anyway. And I can't, well, actually, price is outside of here because here's price here. But price seems to be in consolidation right now, and it's in between structure. But if I'm going to take a trade for a sell, I am not bothering with this until price breaks here. But if you can't help yourself and it's got to be, I got to get in the trade before that. And you could take it here. Now, I have my chart set up of the 4-hour look on these candles, but the present candle is on a 5-minute timer. I could go and change that from here, and I could put it at 10 minutes, 15. I could put it at 4 hours if I want. Okay, but there's also another element of structure, and that's time. If I'm looking to get into this trade, if price is trending, if I have volume, if I'm looking to get into this trade, if price gets to about a minute and a half, I'm waiting to the next candle. I'm waiting to the next candle, especially if price is within a minute on that 5-minute candle. Because what I don't want to happen is price to move in and I'm under 15 seconds and I go ahead and get into the trade and then the next candle comes and it goes the other way. I don't want to get dogged by structure, which is the other reason why I like putting my timer at 2 minutes. I like my timer at 2 minutes because it gives price time to do its thing. And if I have all my boxes checked and I get into the trade, then I know I have a good chance of price staying where I need it to stay or above or below where I need it to stay for the next 2 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people don't like structure. Matter of fact, some people looking at this video right now are probably getting turned off because they feel like this is just too much. But see, what you don't want to be, you don't want to be a freaking gambler. You don't want to do that. You know what you are? You are a fund manager over your own digital funding account. You are a professional trader. If you've gotten paid at this, you're a professional trader. If you've been doing this more than 10,000 hours, you are an expert. But you don't want to learn this thing wrong. I would rather wait 30 minutes for the ideal situation where I can get into a trade 3 or 4 times as opposed to getting in and out of a trade or losing 3 or 4 trades in a row. That doesn't make any sense at all. This is your money. One thing I will say about pocket options. One thing I will say about this. Pocket options, if you develop a good work ethic, it will make you slow down. It will make you disciplined. Well, I got to wait. Like for here's this upper movement here. I have to wait not only for price to break the 50, but I needed a way for price to break past this fractal and past the cloud. Then I could start looking for an upward movement. But I don't, I'm gonna go ahead and take it. I'm gonna go ahead and take it. I'm gonna go ahead and take it. And then you get into a situation where price pulls back on you, and then now you're frustrated. And let me say something else. I like pocket options a lot. There's a lot of information on here. For instance, there's analytic information here, right? Calendar for news. There's analytics, and then there's other applications that you could use that are probably paid applications, but you could use it um, in concert with Pocket. So there's a lot of information here. But the one thing about it, also, the thing I also like about pocket options is you have the ability to trade after hours and on the weekend. You could trade these currencies, but what you can also do, I could trade commodities, I could trade stocks. They're over the counter and they're open every day. You have access to something that you probably didn't have access to 10 years ago. And I'm talking about for the regular standard retail trader. But don't feed into the stereotype that we're all gamblers. Screw those guys that talk those talking heads on CNBC or Fox Business or Bloomberg, and how they talk about us like, we ain't shit. You know what business you're in right now? You're in the now business. How much money can I make right now, today? And the old thing is all talking about get in, invested, and hold it long. Well, there's only one thing that I do that for, and that is Bitcoin and crypto in general. I am a bull when it comes to Bitcoin. I am a bull. Very seldom do I trade Bitcoin in the downward movement. Why? Because I am trading against my own interest. Because the crypto market is going to move as high as Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is the catalyst. Bitcoin is the grand poobah, almost $2 trillion in market cap. It is a monster, and everything follows that. My private banking, my crypto.com accounts, all that is predicated on the upper movement of Bitcoin. So here, I don't care what direction. I'm not married to a trend in pocket options. I don't care. I just want to catch the trend. And I want to ride the trend until I can't ride it anymore. And then I either look for rejection at that point, or I find something else to trade. Also, too, you can make this one of your favorites, right? So I can make this one of my favorites so that I don't know what happened. I had a whole list of trading instruments up here and they're gone. It's probably again user error. But I could just come up here and click on whatever it is that I want that I have up here that I consider to be a favorite. So we're looking at price here moving through here. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a horizontal line right here at this frac, right? And then I'm going to set this here. So now price, I'm waiting for him to go through here and get out of here. The moment it is out of this cloud, I'm starting to look to see if price is trending. Now, if you look down here at the ADX, the volume is pointing down, which is telling me that right now there isn't any momentum, even though I have an upper movement here. Okay. So the discipline is I don't trade this until price is trending. That's the discipline. And y'all, trust me, it's real hard. It'll be real hard not for me to get into this trade and price is popping out of here. It'll be real hard to do that. But I just wanted to take some time and talk about structure here because it is very important to understand that in any platform, I don't care what it is you trade, you learn price action and you have a great understanding about structure. I promise you, you will be a successful trader. It is very hard to be a successful trader if you can't locate price, if you can't identify support, resistance, and structure, and you can't identify whether or not volume is increasing or decreasing depending on the trend that you're following. It's hard to do. All right, I just want to take some time tonight to do that, and we will have more conversations about structure with pocket options because I think it's very important to understand that and become a very successful trader. The money can happen quick here, right? And it could be a good resource for income for you if you can master these three things, and you're going to need those three things here. I'm going to talk about in another conversation about the AI product that I'm not a fan of, and I'll tell you why on the next video. Have a good one.